And it's a very, very good morning to everyone watching Chris's Real Talk this morning. I've finally hit that 1,000. I think I've got 1,003, so thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. So I'm off today. It's one of my days off. And just before I went to take my dog for a walk this morning, my other half looks out the window and sees a black Staffordshire Bull Terrier cross running around on the road outside. And I've had to rescue this dog before. I know who the owner is. And the owners of this dog, unfortunately, do not know their elbows from their arsehole. So the dog's name is Coco. And it's a wonderful dog. It's lovely. It's about a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. It's very young, very bouncy, very bubbly, very playful. However, I needed to take my dog downstairs for a walk. My dog, Stanford, does not get on well with other dogs. So I've had to take a risk. Good morning, Mark Simpson. I've had to take a risk and put the harness on him and take the spare lead down to this dog. Now, I managed to find this dog, and initially, both of them didn't like each other. They both started getting a bit mouthy. And I managed to get this lead on this other dog, and I separated them. And I introduced them to each other very slowly in a very controlled manner. And they started to slowly accept each other, which is what you should do. And if dogs ever go up to each other face to face, you know, like very close, that sideways sort of thing, and they start going, that's very aggressive behavior. You know, don't let your dog or any other dog go up to your dog up to the face, because it's a sign of, you know, they'll look sideways at each other and it'll be very close and that sort of thing. So that's just, you need to avoid that sort of contact. So that's how that started, and I managed to get that under control. And they started to slowly accept each other after having a correct doggy greeting, which is a backside sniff. Anyway, the owners of this dog, or the owner, was a woman who had no clue. She finally turned up in her Mercedes after me being down with this dog for 10 minutes, calming it down, reassuring it, telling the dog it's fine. I mean, look, here's my dog. Look, Stanford. Who's this? Who's this? You see, that's my baby. Get off, you great big lemon. And so this woman turns up in a Mercedes, and she didn't have a clue. She didn't have a clue. I said, how has this dog managed to escape again? Again. I said, the last time I rescued this dog, it was to give to the gentleman that's here. So are you his carer, or are you his whoever? She goes, no, I'm his ex-wife. Oh. Because, yeah, my son doesn't normally have a problem, and the dog likes to escape from me. And I said, how does the dog escape? How? How does the dog escape? I said, this dog has nearly been run over before, and I've had to rescue it on more than one occasion. And then I saw exactly how the dog escaped, because the lead came off. So then I had to show her with a chain lead how to connect it to the collar. The lead goes underneath the dog, and then clip it back in, and then you're left with the handle. It's a makeshift harness. The dog is not going to escape from that because it goes underneath the legs. So I said to her, the last time I rescued this dog, I nearly rescued it and took it home. Okay, so that was a very bitter pill to swallow, is giving this dog back. I had to explain to her that she needed to get a harness. And the thing is that dog, unfortunately, is a man's dog. Because you can say all you want, there's no such thing as a man's dog. There is. Because a lot of dogs actually crave that sort of male dominance, alpha male kind of authority. The dog craves that, you see. I mean, look, I'll show you. Stanford, sit, stay. High five. High five. Go on, give me a high five. High five. Good boy. Good boy. Now piss off. You see, this is the sort of thing that dogs crave. They don't need, come on now, puppy. Come on now, Coco. It is a good girl. It is a good boy. They don't respond well to that. You see, they get very negative with that. If you're gonna get a dog and you've always wanted a dog, do some homework on the animal. You have to know the breed, excuse me, that you're getting. You're going to need to know the pros and cons of such a dog, because every dog's temperament is different depending on the breed and, of course, the dog as an individual. You can't say, oh, look, there's two men there, they're both going to be exactly the same. They both have their own personalities. So you need to, ideally, if you're going to get a dog, get the dog from a very, very, very young age, so you can assess that dog, and preferably, if it's in a group or pack, the dog can choose you, because the dog has to be comfortable with the new owner rather than you being comfortable with it. Okay, so just remember that. Every single dog is as individual as every single human being. Not every dog's going to like every other dog. And my dog doesn't like other dogs very much because he was attacked, and that changed him. And that was about 7 years ago. You wouldn't think so. My dog's nearly 14. I've looked after him very well. I've got an incoming call. I'll call back later. And, it's just, if you want to get a dog, you need to make sure it is a decision you're going to make for the rest of that dog's life. Because there's too many times people get a dog because they think it's an easy thing to do. They think, oh, all I have to do is feed it and pick up its poo and it'll be there and it'll go sit and it'll go paw and blah, blah, blah. No, you need to train it. You need to make sure that dog gets... Give me 1 sec. Okay. Allow. Call back later. Right. My auntie's trying to call me. I hope she's okay. And, so you need to make sure that you understand what the breed is, the individual needs of a dog, the dietary needs of the dog, the behavioral needs and discipline that a dog would need as well. The owner of this dog clearly had no idea. This dog is at least 1.5 to 2 years old, has a lot of energy, and craves discipline. That's why when I got hold of the dog and I gave it some discipline, like laying down some authoritarian body language more than anything, firm, short, sharp, deep, controlled commands to the dog, it responded, and it responded very well. She doesn't not need that dog. The dog does not need her, because if the dog is escaping purely just for the attention, just for the exercise, and that dog's not getting enough exercise. She said, oh, the dog doesn't do that with my son. It's probably because your son knows what he's doing. And the dog, when you're around, seems to think that it's a holiday. Young dogs need as much attention as you would think a child would need attention. They crave that discipline. They crave that attention. They love to learn. This is the thing. Dogs love to learn. So please, if you are considering getting an animal, just remember they need just and require just as much responsibility as children do. They really do. Dogs require the same amount of love, care, and attention as children. You can't just say it's a dog, I'll feed it, walk it, pick up its poop. No, it has to bond with you. You can learn from it as much as it can learn from you. Make sure it's the right decision for you and the animal, especially if the dog is a rescue dog, because you don't know what that dog's life was like before you got the dog. All right, you need to have the right equipment, a good strong lead, or 2 different types of lead, depending on if you want an extendable or a short chain. You need a harness. Do not ever attach a dog's lead to its neck, because its muscles around its neck will get damaged from tugging back on the collar. You see, you need to get the right food. You need to know roughly what times you can try and get its body clock into gear in regards to walking, because a lot of dogs may expect 2 or 3, maybe 4 walks a day. Right, let me read some of these comments. Really appreciate everyone watching. I was on a bus today and I saw a group of people press those emergency open buttons because they didn't want to wait in traffic. Freddie 2004.13. That drives me absolutely nuts, because when people do that on a moving bus, it actually brings the bus to a complete stop and it's very uncomfortable. So, good morning. Transport 135, I hate dogs. Well, we're all different. I love dogs. Ross McGarry says, you would make a good trainer, Chris. I'd like to think so, but a lot of mine isn't professional opinion. It's more personal opinion, and it's more common sense as someone who's owned a dog pretty much my whole life. Any diversions today? Being a Friday, yes. On the Route 12 in particular, or buses going over Westminster Bridge into Vauxhall, what you will find is there'll be a taxi demonstration today between 12 and 4, or 12 and 7, depending on if Uber get involved. And also there should be a Piccadilly Circus curtailment because Regent Street's actually closed. So for those of you planning on going into the centre of town today, please be aware that Regent Street may be closed due to, again, emergency roadworks. So be mindful of that. Any diversions today? What about, they're both fighting dogs? No. You see, there's no such thing as a fighting dog. Let me just get this out there, okay? There's no such thing as a fighting dog. There's no such thing as a bad breed. There are all kinds of dogs, hundreds, if not thousands of different breeds and types of dog. What dogs were bred for originally, like a pit bull, was used for bull baiting. All right. And like I've got a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And they were originally bred with their faces to be the shape that they were, so that when they were to bite around a bull's neck and the blood would come out of the neck, the blood would go around the eye and across the groove at the top. That's what those dogs were bred for. They're bred in that way to have the strong jaw so blood would not get in the eyes. You see, I'll show you. Stanford, come, Bubba. Come, sit. Right, so here we have is Stanford. You see, he's a very handsome white Staffordshire Bull. Come here. All right. So we've got his Stanford here, all right? And we can see this groove along here, you see. And what we'll have is the curves around the muscles here, all of this. So if he was to bite, blood would not get into the eyes, it would go across and down like that. So that's what this sort of dog was bred for originally. There's no such thing as a fighting dog. No dogs are ever bred to fight each other. What you have is arseholes that have dogs and breed dogs to fight other dogs. People that don't deserve dogs. People that do this, as far as I'm concerned, are scum. And if you don't like that, I suggest you unsubscribe to me now to put me back below 1,000 subs, because I will build it back up again slowly. But no dog should ever be used for fighting. I want to put that out there now. Dogs deserve love, care, and attention, and they do not need fighting. My dog was attacked about 7 years ago by a dog which had a bad owner. Because you've got to remember, there's no such thing as a bad dog. There are only bad owners. So dogs will always try and do what makes their masters or their mummies and daddies, for example, happy. And they won't know what's right from wrong. They're only doing what they've been trained or taught to do with, you know, the amount of behavioural discipline they've had over their life. So dogs don't ever get bred to fight. So good morning, Sarah. My local hospital has a therapy dog. She's chocolate Labrador. She's real friendly. I tell you, that's lovely. Labradors are such a wonderful dog. My friend has a Labrador. Unfortunately, she's not too well at the moment, and she may need to be looked at carefully by a vet. Let's put it that way. I used to be scared of dogs, but I'm okay. Just nervous of dogs. I don't know. Okay, so Sarah, what you're going to remember is never ever be nervous of a dog, okay? Because dogs can pick up on that. Dogs, they can smell smells the same way as we can smell color. And the thing is, when we're nervous or scared, dogs can actually sense that change in that hormone, that fear hormone, that, you know, that nervousness. They can hear it, they can smell it, they can tell. So the best thing to do when you see another dog, don't be nervous, don't be scared, ignore it. Ignore the dog, because when the dog's ready to come and say hello to you, the dog will come say hello to you, and it'll probably start with a sniff of the foot, you know, or a sniff of the leg, you know, very gentle, like that sort of thing, you see. And then when you're ready for that dog to get to know you better, slowly extend the hand out like that. Don't go straight for the head. Closed fist, palm down to the nose. Let them smell your hand. Let's have a look. Just bad owner's pal. No such thing as a bad dog. Very true, Ross. I used to be scared of. I avoid certain dog types while walking mine. See, this is another thing. Is I will try and do that only because my dog was set upon by a pit bull, which means he now doesn't like other pit bulls. There must be some sort of, dog racism going on there. Maybe certain breeds smell similar. But I try not to. To be fair, he's funny with all other dogs. I took a risk taking him downstairs to rescue this one earlier. But dogs that he's known or dogs that he's grown up with, dogs that have been in his life since he was a puppy, no problem. It's new animals, new dogs that I'm wary of. And I don't stop him interacting with them. I'm just very cautious when he does interact with them. Okay. I'm very wary of that sideways glance, that sort of thing. Very, very careful of their body language between each other. Good morning. I've got SBT Staffordshire Terrier. His name is Nacho. Hey, Nacho. El Nacho. I tell you what, Nacho is such a good name for a dog. Thanks, Chris. Good advice. I didn't know that. You're very welcome, Sarah. Sean Maxwell, I've got to say, Nacho is such a cool name for a dog. If you get another one, call him Taco. Oh, yeah, call him Taco. But yeah, some people should not own dogs. They shouldn't. I'm going to say own very loosely. Some people shouldn't be able to give a dog a home. Because I don't own this dog. I'm not going to say I own him. He's part of my family. He's actually older than my eldest son. I've got two sons. I've got a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. This muppet down here, look at him, look. You're my good boy. You're my good boy. You're going to get up and give me loves. Oh, he's going to give me loves. See, look, I've dropped everyone. This is so unprofessional. Oh, see, look. He's my baby, you see. He's my baby, and I wouldn't change him for anything, you see. And the thing is, you can tell when you've got a good dog or you've done well, because you won't mind them jumping up on your lap just for a cuddle, you know, just for silly things like this, you know, because this is the sort of thing, this is affection, you see. This is the sign of a good dog, you see. Look, the sign of a good dog. Another thing you need, come on, get off now, I'm talking to everybody. Another thing you need to understand is when a dog is attentive towards you, and when a dog is responding to you the way you want the dog to respond. So if you give a dog a command and it's being a bit of a git and doesn't want to listen, you see, or if your dog's at home and it's a new dog, for example, and it's trying to get to know you and you're talking to it and it doesn't want to listen, its ears are forward like that, that's it. Sort of listening, but it's I'm not going to listen to you eventually because my ears are forward. I'm very attentive. You can always tell when a dog is comfortable and listening to you and submissive because its ears go from forward to actually pointing backwards. You see, look, I'll show you a good example of that now. My dog, look, his ears are back because he's comfortable and he's submissive. You see, he's being very submissive. This is a good thing. You want your dog to be in your control as submissive as possible. And a good way to do that from a very young age, from a puppy, is to actually pin your dog on the floor. So put your dog on the floor, put one hand or one arm gently over the neck and put the other hand just on its hip. And when that dog is on the floor, hold that dog on the floor. It may struggle, but keep that dog there very gently until its ears go back and it actually stays there without you having to hold it there. That is a sign of dogs actually submitting to your authority and dominance. And if you can do that, say once or twice a day over the course of a month or two, that dog will learn that you are the dominant figure in that house. And you'll be more, the dog will be more receptive to your commands and control. Let's have a look at some of these more comments. I should call mine Dyson as he hoovers up fields looking for food. I love that. I love that. I should call mine Dyson actually, because he hoovers up everything on the floor that I drop on it. My Jack Russell Zeus got attacked by an Alsatian when he was a pup. The owner didn't give a F. This is really sketchy with any approaching dog now. I don't know how to fix it. Bill Pickle, that's a very good question, and I'm sorry to hear that happened to your pup. The best way to do it is all I can suggest is if you go to a dog grooming place, for example, and you want to just get your dog's claws cut. Normally that costs around about between 10 and 15 pounds. Okay, there will be other dogs there. Okay, so the best thing to do is keep your dog on a harness or on a lead, or carry the dog in, book the nails to be cut, and you go into a room with other dogs. And what will happen is essentially that dog will bark and be very defensive and protective. But the longer your dog is in there, in that environment with other dogs, your dog will calm down, and so will the others, because it's a new dog they've not seen before, they've not smelled before, you see. Or find someone you know who also has another dog. And what you can also do is slowly but very carefully, like I've done today, is introduce your dogs to each other in a very controlled manner. On the lead or on the harness, slowly, gently introduce each other. Make sure they sniff the backsides first, as opposed to going up to the face, because that's the case of, you know, they can literally like that. You see. Another thing is what you can do. I don't like, even though I dislike Staffies, he's cute. Matthew Launchbury, I really appreciate that, because the thing is with Staffies, they get a very, very bad rep. Staffies are actually known as the nanny dog, and they are, if not the best dog with children. This is something you can actually Google, you can look up. Staffies are very nurturing, very loving dogs, almost as much as Labradors, to be fair. Chavs get fighting dogs with big metal collars to make them look tough. I'll tell you what it is. It's not just chavs, basically. Anyone who gets a pit bull or a staff and makes them look all big and birch with leather harnesses and spikes on the collar. Bondage dog. Oh, let's go make them fight each other. Big tough guy, yeah. See, people that fight other dogs are too scared to go and work or go fight each other or go and have a decent life. I've got no time for people that actually make dogs fight each other. It's wrong. You see, it's wrong. But in regards to introducing your dog to other dogs, do it in a very controlled environment. You can even go to a vet, go to your local vet or pet store, because there will be people in there who are trained in how to train animals. You can actually ask them, how do I introduce my dog to other dogs? How can I do this safely? How can I ensure that it's the best way to do it? Do you feel confident this morning that it was under control, or worried that they would attack and lock jaws? I was actually very confident in my ability to control both dogs. Very. Because the thing is, even though both their heckles were up initially and they were both giving it the beans like, I was in control of my dog. First and foremost is I was in control of mine. And half the problem is a lot of people don't know how to diffuse the situation when they're not in control of their own dog. Once I was in control of my dog, I could step between them, put my dog between my legs while I'm standing there, step between them, and obviously create that sort of big, I'm here defensive stance and take control of the other one. Anyway, I am gonna go. My missus has just got home from taking my youngest